I first heard about Level 99 when a friend in Boston told me there's this new place at the Natick Mall that's so cool. There's all these crazy challenge rooms, plus they have a restaurant with all this great food and drink. And since then, Level 99 has opened at Providence Place in Rhode Island. Also, Tysons, Virginia, and Hartford, Connecticut are coming soon. And the biggest splash of all came when Level 99 announced they would be coming to Disney Springs in Orlando. But what is Level 99? What makes it different? What are its growth plans? Today, we're going to learn all of those things and more. We're talking to the founder and CEO of Level 99, Matt DuPlessie. You're listening to Where We Buy. It's the show where we talk with retail experts and we visit the places where we buy. My name is James Cook. I research retail and real estate for JLL. Welcome, Matt. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, James. I'm so happy to be here.
This is super cool. Are you joining me from Massachusetts today?
I am, from my home in Foxborough, Mass, right between our two current Level 99 locations in Natick and in Providence.
I took a guess that since your first location was in Natick, you were probably in that, originally, or living in that area.
Yep. For the first couple of a new concept, it really helps to be close to home.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure there's so many things being ironed out. Okay, so let's back up. I think I was doing a little bit of digging about your past, including watching a TED Talk you did a number of years ago. Fascinating stuff. Someone told me you were one of, if not the first people to open an escape room style concept. Is that true?
That is true. We opened our first Five Wits location. Five Wits was my first location-based entertainment concept. And we opened the Tomb, a walk-through Egyptian tomb adventure, the first escape room style concept in the world, as far as we know, in October of 2004. So yes, if you've heard of anything before that, let me know. But as far as I know, we started it all.
That's amazing. So what led to that, creating that first concept?
I had come out of engineering school and then business school, had done design build for folks like Disney and Universal for some years. And I think if you'd asked me back then, I would have wanted, $4 billion to build my own theme park and, do a giant scale thing and compete with the big boys. Of course, my life savings was about $1,000 at that point, and that was not on the table. I was a 20-something recent grad. So I said, how can we take a theme park and the elements of that are most compelling and boil it down to one small retail storefront? And that original tomb was a 6,000 square foot retail box on Brookline Ave in the Fenway in Boston. And when I talked to my business school friends, they're all going to the investment banks or the consulting firms, and I say, well, I'm going to build an Egyptian tomb and open it in a storefront in Boston, and they thought I was nuts. But that was the smallest kind of microcosm of a theme park that I could envision, and raised a small amount of money for. Back then it was big money to me, $600,000 to get that Egyptian tomb built and launch a concept that at that point the term escape room hadn't been coined yet. People didn't know what it was. So yeah, we had some heavy lifting getting that off the ground.
So that's called Five Wits, and that's still open today, right?
That's right. Yep. Still half a dozen locations of Five Wits around the Northeast. I'm still the majority partner there. But of course, attention in recent years has shifted a little bit toward Level 99.
So tell me a little bit about how Level 99 emerged. Like, were you doing Five Wits and saying, well, this is good, but here's how I might do it differently? Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's a great question. Five Wits was a slow, bootstrapped organic growth over the course of the last 20 years, kind of saving up the profit from that first location to get a second one open with two attractions instead of one, and then four attractions, and kind of slow and plodding in its early stages of growth. And in the course of that, we got a lot of inquiries from third parties, theme parks, theaters, corporations trying to build a trade show booth. And they looked at our Five Wits attractions like Tomb and Espionage, Drago's Castle, and they said, hey, this would be really cool if you could build something like this for us. So the biggest one back right at the beginning, 2006, 2007, was for the International Spy Museum in Washington, D.C. We designed and built a walkthrough experience for them. And in order to kind of separate that from the entity that was operating the Five Wits kind of retail venues, we spun off a separate company, which came to be known as Boxfort. That was our design, build, production company that did a lot of, over 15 years worked for dozens of clients, ranging from museum exhibits to theatrical shows, theme parks. I mean, we built stage sets for Blue Man Group and exhibits for the Smithsonian and concept work for Galaxy's Edge, Disney's Star Wars Land, and kind of everything in between. So it was in the course of that creative entity doing all this work for dozens of third parties that we started to identify, hey, these are the concepts that really have legs. This is what's working in the industry. And these other things, people only go to once and they don't go back, or they look great on paper, but they don't have the economic model behind it. And we kind of culled the greatest hits and figured out what the marketplace was really looking for. And that led to the business plan for Level 99.
So for the audience who hasn't been there, how do you describe Level 99? What's the experience like for the first time visitor?
Much like opening the first escape room before there were escape rooms, boy, it evades description. So let me give it a shot.
Okay.
Level 99 is a real world gaming venue built for adults. So there's over 50 large scale, like room size, mental and physical challenges, each of which is set in its own unique themed environment. And the whole thing is packaged, surrounded in a larger than life local art experience. So these games might range from very physical, like a Ninja Warrior obstacle course type challenge, to a mental logic puzzle or a skill game or a communication game, everything in between. So each of these room size challenges is very quick. They're like 1 to 4 minutes long. You can play the same one over and over again, try to get better each time, earn a higher level of success, earn more stars in that room. Or you can say, great, that one wasn't for me. Let's go across the hallway, try something new. So each room is very short and it's played with a small group of friends, 2 to 6 players. So much like a video game come to life, you're going in with your buddies, you're going to earn rewards in that room, you're going to climb the leaderboard, you're going to make progress. And the next time you come back to a Level 99, the game remembers you and where you left off, and you continue to make progress. So one ticket, we're selling time essentially. You buy a 2-hour pass, a 4-hour pass, all-day pass, and you play as many games as many times as you want, trying to get better at them. It looks, for our good players who are beating most of the venue, it's about 30 hours of content to do everything. So this is not something you could possibly do in one visit. People are coming back again and again. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention we couple that entertainment with a great restaurant. So we've got 300-seat, chef-driven, intentionally farm-to-table restaurant where award-winning craft menu, a curated beer list. We work with a local brewery, local craft beer partner in each installation. Amazing cocktail list. So when you put the high-end food and beverage together with the entertainment, people come back.
That sounds great. So it sounds to me like the biggest difference is size between your first outing is kind of size, and it's non-sequential, right? So people can choose their own adventure, which probably helps with throughput too.
That's right. Yeah, it is what we would call an open world game, right? When I grew up, I won't presume your age, James, but when I grew up, the video games were, Super Mario Brothers is scrolling left to right. The game is kind of on a linear track. You're on rails. You do what you're supposed to do next. And now the 20-somethings, the 30-somethings are accustomed to more agency, more control, decision-making. So it's an open world format with a ton of variety. These 50 games are not linearly organized. You choose what to do next. There's information on the welcome screen for each game, for each challenge, what it's about, so you can tailor your experience to your own desires. And yes, I think scale is very important in location-based entertainment. Would Disney World work if it was just Space Mountain, right? Like you've got to have the breadth of experience that brings people to have choice and to be able to spend all day with you.
Well, Matt, I have to give you an aside here. I once rode on Space Mountain 15 times in one day when I was in
Awesome.
middle school. When I was in middle school,
My record is 5, so you're way ahead of me.
it was an especially like low crowd day, and I was like, I'm going for it, man. I had that ride memorized.
That's awesome. When it's slow enough that the staff just gives you the nod and lets you go around again, that's so great. Yeah.
Okay, so folks are going through and it remembers you, so you come back and you do these rooms, and it's not like you're starting from scratch. What's the technology behind that? It's wristbands, right?
Yep. Folks have RFID wristbands that are identifying them to our systems. And when I say our systems, this is all custom written. So we have a large in-house software team, 15 software developers full-time now on the team. And we have written the show control systems that run the challenges, and the whether it's video components, lighting control, sound control, the logic of the game. We've written our own front end and account creation system, kind of point of sale system for the food and for the entertainment side of the business. At least we use an off the shelf solution for food and beverage, because it to some degree is a video game engine, right? That has these concepts of your persistent account, your progress, digital assets that you're accumulating that you can trade in for prizes or maybe recognition or your spot on the leaderboard. These kind of what we would call metagame features that span the whole venue and make these 50 disparate, intentionally different games into one cohesive experience. We view that as kind of a moat, as a competitive advantage of something that we're building and intentionally have spent millions of dollars on over the last 5 years that our competitors don't have.
Now, you mentioned that visitors pay by the hour. I'm sure there's kind of a range there, but can you give us a sense of what you typically spend for an hour of gameplay?
Sure. Today we sell a 2-hour, a 4-hour, and an all-day at $29.99, $39.99, $49.99 during the week. And there's a little premium. I think it's $5 more on the weekend. We'll probably look at some Tysons Corner in Virginia is demographically a little different. The rent is also a little different. So pricing may change there, but we have a high capacity. These venues, we can have 600 people playing simultaneously, another 250 eating. So with that number of people in the venue, I like to keep the price competitive and make sure we're really driving a lot of people who are experiencing it for the first time today and who will be our missionaries tomorrow, going out and telling people what Level 99 is.
Is the 2-hour the most popular that people get?
2 hours the most popular today, yes. And particularly for first-time visitors, we find that when people come back, they tend to have a higher likelihood of trading up to a 4-hour or an all-day. I think most people don't believe, especially if it's a big box in a shopping mall, right? It was Natick was a former Sears. Our Providence location was a JCPenney. And do people believe that that's worth spending all day at, that there's really that much content when they don't know what you are yet and they're kind of just discovering? So people tend to buy the 2-hour, get to know us, and then realize that they didn't even get to see half the venue on their first visit and they come back.
And I would imagine a typical visitor, they do 2 hours of gaming. At that point, they're probably hungry. Is it a like fast casual, or is it waiter served? How's the food?
Yeah, that's right. That's the usual model is play then eat. Some people will eat then play. For our events business, which we could talk about, we do a ton of corporate events, team building events. The food is often in the middle of the experience, depending how they schedule it. We have both food service models today. So you can fast casual style, order at the bar, order at the window. You're going to get a text message in 10 or 15 minutes when your fresh food is ready and you can pick it up. And really as a amenity to fuel your gaming while you're out on the floor and you're playing and you don't want to stop. You can order that way. Or if you're interested in a more relaxed, all right, you're exhausted, you just played mental and physical games for 4 hours and you want to chill out and talk strategy with your buddies, you can go into our tap room and it's full service dining. Waiter, waitress will serve you, and more of a conventional restaurant experience.
All right. Well, I'm planning. I haven't been yet, so I'm mentally planning my experience. I'm
Oh,
definitely
wow,
going to
yeah.
do the tap room. I'll probably do the 2 hours, just because I want to see how it is. Don't want to invest too much. How many? I think you said this. Is it each room is just a couple of minutes, right?
Yeah, they're typically 1 to 4 minutes long. There's over 50 different experiences in each venue. Our Disney Springs location that you mentioned at the top of the hour is going to be larger, our biggest arena of games yet, which is very exciting. But yeah, and you're not just playing each game 1 to 4 minutes once. Many of them are designed to you kind of are learning the game. You're getting your team to understand their roles and their skills. You figure out how to beat the game, and you're going to play it again. So we'll see that some guests will actually they'll come for 2 hours, and they only play half a dozen games the whole time. They go over and over again to get better at them, to get increase their score, and to really accomplish mastery in those games. Other people prefer the exploration and discovery of, I'm gonna see a whole bunch, but typically a guest is getting through about 20 games in their first 2 hour ticket. So of the over 50, so not even seeing half of the venue.
I'm sure you have metrics on how much each game is played. What's the most popular game?
The most played game, our iconic game, is called Axe Run. So it's right at the
I saw
entrance of
this
each
on
venue.
TikTok.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you've probably seen it on TikTok. A few 100 million people have. It's a balance beam with swinging axes, just like you fantasized about when you were like 7 years old, about this coming to life, and you've got to walk down this beam and not get taken out by one of these giant foam axes. So that's iconic. Everybody wants to play that. It's also a really short cycle time. People are getting through that game in like 15 seconds. So it lets us. So that's what part of the reason it's the most played game.
It makes me think of like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom kind of situation. It's very visual. It looks like a lot of fun. And the axes do on video look real. So it looks scary, even though obviously it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely checks that box, fulfills that fantasy for everybody who wanted to be Indiana Jones growing up.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I certainly did. Okay, so we talked a little bit about food. One of the things, as I talk to different concepts, many of them are entertainment. So they're really, the profit is in the food. Often the alcohol is the big profit. Is that how you look at this, or do you look at it differently?
No, no, quite differently. And you're right, I think, to put your finger on that fundamental difference in business models, where many of these purported kind of, third wave entertainment concepts are really taking an old bar game mechanic, right? Maybe it's mini golf, maybe it's darts, maybe it's shuffleboard, maybe it's ping pong, and they're adding some LED lights around the perimeter of it, maybe digital scoring, and bolting on a restaurant. And the business, if to the extent there's publicly disclosed information, that's 60%, 70%, 80% food and beverage, and it's a bar business. They're making their money selling beer, and the entertainment is something everybody's familiar with, not all that novel, and it is kind of the anchor. We view it very differently, where it's an entertainment driven concept. We're experimental in business model. We're going to try things that haven't been done before. We're going to push the boundaries of what location-based entertainment can be and the type of experience that guests can have that is not familiar. It's not that comfortable mini golf experience. It is something new and exciting. We want to serve world-class food and beverage alongside that. The insistence on our team is that everything we do, we're going to do at that A+ caliber. So the food needs to stand on its own legs. It frankly be a destination, something that you would come out for just to eat, which we see all the time in our restaurants. But if you look at the P&L, the business is driven by entertainment. That's the lion's share of revenue. And certainly for the folks listening to this, they're probably familiar with the different structures of margins in different industries. And the reality is location-based entertainment is more profitable than restaurants. Once you commit the funds, once you go through the effort of getting it built out, and a venue might be very expensive to build, but it is less expensive to operate. And the EBITDA margins that you see on the entertainment side of the business are much stronger than food and beverage. You need the food and beverage, I think, to make the whole, right? 1 + 1 = 3. You don't get the corporate events. You don't get the great traffic for, couples and groups of friends having an outing on a Friday night. They want the great beverage. They want a great burger. Our pizza won best pizza in Boston from Boston Magazine. I mean,
Wow.
when you go to an entertainment venue, you think the food's going to stink, right? Like we
For
all
sure.
expect like, oh, this is going to be something off the back of a truck that was dropped in a fry later, and I'm going to have to like grin and bear it just to get home. That is not how our food works. This is craveable food that you would come out for all by itself. And boy, when you attach that to a compelling, original, an entertainment experience people had before, I'm seeing repeat rates higher than any I think I shared some of my background. I've worked on 100 different entertainment concepts. Level 99 has the highest repeat rates that I have ever seen. The food and beverage adoption is high. The margins are rock solid. So the 1 + 1 = 3 equation of getting each of these pieces right and each of these functioning as its own business successfully, kind of creates an unstoppable storm.
Another distinguishing fact is a lot of time you talk about location-based entertainment, you're thinking about teens, tweens, families. I get the sense your target customer skews older. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, boy, you are very insightful. I see that you do this for a living, James, because you put your finger on all of the kind of key strategic questions we wrestled with when defining the concept 5 years ago. You are exactly right. Once you get the reputation as a Chuck E. Cheese, you cannot ring that bell. And Chuck E. Cheese, for what it is, if there's got to be a place for 6-year-olds' birthday parties, that's great. That is not what Level 99 is. So we're very deliberate in the design of our challenges, that these are difficult. These are built for adults. These are mentally, physically, socially engaging at a level that when a birthday party mom calls and says, I want to have my 8-year-old's party, we say it's not really fit. This is too much for them. Call us again in 10 years, right? So we're very deliberate about having a small minority. Today, under 20% of our guests are minors. It is all,
Wow.
it is young adults, and things are designed very deliberately for the 21 to 39-year-old age bracket. This is for young adults. So that when that corporate group is here and you've got the 20-somethings having a happy hour and about to play some games, they're not looking across the hall at the kids and saying, oh, shoot, who's in the wrong place, right? Like strategy is what you say no to. Strategy is what you choose not to do. And we have decided not to try to be everything to everyone.
I was reading that you partner with a lot of artists. So how does that work? Because it's sort of, well, yeah, explain that, because I don't think art normally when I think, challenge or escape room. I mean, I guess I do, but explain what that means.
Yeah. So I could start with why art, like what's the point and what role does it fill? When we were designing the venue and had all these really cool rooms, individual themes, individual games, the fear was, like you would see in many other concepts, like, the interstitial space between these things is a bunch of gray hallways, and you feel like you're in an office park, not a. So
Liminal space.
right? How are we going to make this compelling when you're not in one of the game spaces? So after a bunch of exploration and inspiration from some folks out there, I think everybody listening to this knows Meow Wolf, which we have a bunch of folks from their team on our team at this point, and there's excitement in building a space that you want to be in, that there's energy in, all by itself. So the connection was to local artists, and we curate, we manage the process, and make sure that the whole is going to create the energy level and the vibe that we're looking for. We're sensitive to making sure that the content is appropriate, but we are allowing artists. Allowing is the wrong word. Encouraging artists to make amazing things. By working with independent artists rather than design everything to the T ourselves, we get a very different feeling from piece to piece. So yes, in each venue, a couple of dozen different artists have commissioned pieces, and we go back and forth on kind of design and intention, help them tweak what the piece should be, and then we're paying good money, top dollar, for them to have to build a very compelling, cool piece of artwork that will adorn this interstitial space, this kind of ether between the challenges in our venues. So we get people who will show up, order a glass of wine, order a beer, and walk around and treat the venue like an art museum. Like they just want to take it all in and see the space. They're not even there to play games. It's also a great thing, for grandma to do when she's brought her teenagers there. If she's not as physically active or he's not as physically active and want to go into an obstacle course challenge, the artwork really completes the experience for a full range of potential guests.
So you've got artists on staff, and then you design all your own games in-house. What's that process? It's got to be an art and a science, or is it more of a science at this point?
Yeah, we have some artists on staff, certainly design and artistic capability on staff, but we also work with a lot of independent, third party, external local artists to really get an authentic kind of non-corporate, over-designed take on the art. But the second part of your question about, hey, yes, all of these challenges we're designing in-house. We're prototyping, we're fabricating. We also use external vendors for some of the fabrication. So unlike, if you go into a arcade, which are wonderful for the niche that they fill in the marketplace, but you essentially have the same video game cabinets that every other arcade could get from Japan or Korea, and they're all, it's a common product. We decided we wanted to be very deliberate in custom designing from scratch each challenge, each game, each experience in the venue. We've got ex-Imagineering folks, ex-Meow Wolf folks who range from, pure mechanical engineering to off-the-wall creativity. We have a large in-house software development team, I think I mentioned. So yes, we want to own the entire vertical from creative process through refinement and really development of the games to release on the floor. So that company that I mentioned that I spun off out of Five Wits back in 2006, it was called Boxfort, that did all the independent design build for theme parks and theaters and attractions. Level99 acquired that company a couple of years ago. We brought all of those creative and engineering folks into Level99 to just entirely focus on our own content development. So really a very professional, seasoned team that we have since grown substantially. We want to be the best game designers in the world.
Maybe you could give me an example. I'm just fascinated by this stuff, like of how a game comes about. Like in my mind, somebody's watching a movie and somebody does something in an action movie and they're like, oh, that would be interesting in a game. Is that how these kinds of things come about?
Yes. In short, we start with a wild exploration of many ideas. We believe that creativity comes from breadth, comes from a huge assortment of ideas, not from kind of locking in on the first thing that comes to mind and then trying to massage it into success. So our creative director will put out a prompt to the larger design and engineering team and say, hey, we're looking for a skill-based challenge, but not a ball game. We want something that doesn't involve balls, and we need it to fit in this size of a room or this kind of set. Like, all right, so there's kind of just some ground rules.
Yeah.
Homework assignment, everybody on the team come up with 5 ideas and present each of those ideas on one sheet of paper, one PowerPoint slide with a drawing, with annotation. And then we all get in the room, and in 30 seconds per idea, we might blast through 100 ideas on a Friday afternoon. And we have a lot of internal criteria we've developed. We have a sorting and voting process we've developed by which we kind of bump that raw, unbridled creativity. And believe me, some of those ideas are just off the wall, absolutely way out there. We run it through our gamut of down select criteria, how we think about this, to get to a short list of ideas that are worth further exploration. And then they get conceptually refined, fleshing out that one page into a little bit more of a document, a little bit more meat on the bones. Another down select process happens where we're picking the winners out of that group. And then we begin moving forward with prototyping. And we're actually building functional, plywood and cardboard versions of these games, setting them up in our fabrication shop, playing not only with our staff, but intentionally bringing in real customers, and seeing how they interact with the game, what's resonating. Down select again, eliminate the ones that are not working. So it's just this big funnel of ideas where to get the 53 challenges that are in Natick, our first location, we brainstormed and worked through a pool of about 2,000 that was developed over 2 years to get to those 50 winners. So there's a lot of a lot of value in breadth and trying to have a process. It's not gut reactions. It's not feelings. It's the reality of experience and clear criteria that help get us to the best outcomes.
I gotcha. I was watching, there's a drone video of, I think it's either Natick or Providence, I forget which one, but there's a point where the drone flies up over the games and you kind of realize that you can kind of look over the tops of all of them. So I'm thinking they're kind of like, are they prefabricated off site and then built up there, which means they're kind of like, can you move them around? Are they interchangeable?
Yes, they're built off site, and we bring them in at the end of the conventional construction process after the GC has built out the restaurant area, the game area. We have a big open floor called the arena with the right power and data and everything we need in the right spots, as the team will have previously engineered. And then those challenges truck in and install. And importantly, a key concept in Level 99's genesis is we are deliberately building something that is designed for repeat play. Most entertainment concepts are novel once. People will be interested in knowing what it is, and they come one time. Whereas a video game or an experience that feels more like it's 30, 40, 50 hours in duration, well, that's what's installed in Natick. And then just like a video game will add new levels, new layers, new economic play motifs, new challenges over the years and keep people engaged in the community, Level 99 does the same. So we swap content out. We're rotating, physically pulling out challenge rooms, putting them in a subsequent venue, and adding new challenges into our existing stores so that we can hit up the million people on the email list and say, James, we know you love physical games because we have a lot of data on what games you've played and how many times you've been back and your proclivity to play this type of game versus that type of game. Well, guess what? We've got a new physical game. Come on back and try it out. Hey, you've been bumped off your spot on the leaderboard. Your buddy's ahead of you now. You got to come and see if you can regain your former glory, and it brings people back.
Oh, so you mentioned something I want to ask you about. So are there two types of games, physical and mental, or are they kind of blended?
No, there's a whole blend. We have physical games. We have more cerebral mental games. We have skill-based games, hand-eye coordination, balance. We have games that are really fundamentally a communication challenge where it's about asymmetrical information in the room, and you have to figure out with your buddies what the right strategy is. We have games that are kind of more mysterious, and the challenge is figuring out the outcome of the game. And every blend therein, we're intentionally going for wild variety. And that entry screen, as you come up to a challenge, it's going to give you a little bit of a hint, a little bit of a description on what's to expect, without giving away the mechanics inside. It'll tell you, oh, this one's very physical. And by the way, there's a moving floor in the room. So be careful about bringing grandma in. Or it'll tell you, this is a very cerebral game, and would you like a hint? And you can either go in cold if you're the type of person who really gets pleasure in figuring it out and trying to solve the puzzle from scratch, or maybe you're the kind of person who just tell me the clear instructions, and you have that option as well. So kind of a self-service hint system is built in as a mechanic as well. We've been thinking about this, been working on this for many years now.
Well, okay, so let's talk about growth plans. So we've got 2 open, 3 announced. Is that right?
2 open, Natick, Mass, Providence, Rhode Island, and 3 all under construction. So yeah, Tysons Corner, Virginia will be open here early fall, not long here, just a couple of months. We are in West Hartford, Connecticut, doing demo, just getting our permits this week. Very exciting. So that'll open at the beginning of next year. And Disney Springs in Orlando, Florida is also in demo right now. And we have not yet announced an opening date for that venue, but coming soon.
So do you have a target growth number of new locations per year?
Yes. In the immediate, 4. 4 new venues a year is the growth plan. We should be running at that rate by 2027. All of our internal team, from our construction team to our challenge design and fabrication team to our ops team, is focused on being able to run at a rate of 1 new unit per quarter. We're being very thoughtful about that, deliberately not going faster than that, so as not to get out over our skis operationally. So many concepts, when they realize they have something, they begin to focus on growth at the expense of operations. And that's a recipe for disaster. You've got to make sure that you're serving the customers you already have and that you're operating at a world-class level in your existing units, not just out on the road getting the next one open.
What is the perfect location for a future Level 99? It sounds like you like malls, you like lifestyle centers. I mean, tell me a little bit more about where you want to open up next?
We're in our first couple happen to be in malls. That isn't necessarily the goal. So we're looking at malls, we're looking at lifestyle, urban, downtown locations, freestanding locations. We're even just starting to have the conversations of looking at dirt and building a building. Importantly, about 94% of Level 99's guests are destination. They are coming to Level 99 deliberately, as opposed to, walking around the center looking for something to do. So we're driving hundreds of thousands of footsteps a year. That is often very helpful in a mall setting. We drive a lot of traffic that our neighbors appreciate, but does that mean we have to be in a mall? I don't think it does. So we're looking at a big range, 30 to 50,000 square feet. It's kind of our size. We need high ceilings, 14 feet plus, free and clear, for the cool games that we're putting in. We look for wide column grids. Those are kind of some of the physical characteristics, but perhaps more importantly, high traffic locations, good visibility, good accessibility, good parking. We tend to over-index with high education levels, high household income levels, tends to match up with our target customer. And at this point, we've released the entire U.S. We started focused in New England, close to home, and then kind of crept down the East Coast with the places we were looking at. And at this point, hey, once you're on a plane to fly to Virginia or to fly to Orlando, you may as well be flying to Texas or flying to California. It doesn't matter all that much. We can solve the supply chain issues. We can solve the operational issues. So at this point, we're looking nationwide.
When you announced that you were going to Disney Springs, which is on the Walt Disney World Resort, like on the grounds, I was like, oh yeah, there is not a better place for them to go. Not only is it, perfect as far as the target customer, but people will come around the world. So much visibility for your brand. What was it like when you announced Disney Springs? Like, I'm a Disney-ish fan. I'm not like a Disney adult or anything, but there was a lot of coverage all of a sudden of Level 99. Did you feel that on your end?
Yes, absolutely. It kind of went nuts. The whole Disney adult thing. As part of it, there is a whole blogosphere, vlogosphere. I mean, within 24 hours of the announcement, dozens of videos had been cut, hundreds of blog posts were up. We were getting calls, PR calls from major publications around the country. It was kind of crazy. That I think is, you know, Disney, obviously, our profile's lifted a little bit. Not everybody's heard of us just up in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. So, yeah, that did break a lot of publicity open. The amazing thing to me is we didn't go out seeking that. I didn't reach out to Disney and say this would be a great location. They found us and they said, we've got this building. It was formerly the NBA Experience, if you know
I know where that is. Yep.
Disney Springs down there on the West End by Cirque du Soleil and the House of Blues. They said, we've got this amazing building. We're looking for something that will really be a fit for our patrons, our guests at Disney Springs. We have scoured the world. We have literally had a team look at substantially all of the location-based entertainment concepts that would fit in this kind of footprint and be the right fit. We've looked at all the concepts. Level 99, we'd like to work with you. And they pursued us, sent 8 different teams of executives up to play with us up in Massachusetts over the course of many months. And at the end of the day, they said, this is a fit. This is really going to be great for everybody who enjoys Disney Springs, but both the 2/3 of folks who come there who are kind of tourists and on vacation, and also the 1/3 of folks who are locals and who live in the Orlando area. It's just going to be a wonderful synergistic relationship, and we're very excited to be opening at Disney Springs. Date unannounced, but coming soon.
Do you have to do anything differently to go to Walt Disney World Resort, or is it just, hey, we want it to be the biggest and best?
We're certainly designing a flagship location, right? Spending good money to make it a killer from a design perspective. The bigger arena, more games. Perhaps one of the differentiating factors there in Orlando, where I've done work before for other clients, obviously, has perhaps the most developed entertainment construction code in the world, right? Like they actually, if you go into, well, I won't name names, but if you go into some cities, they've never seen anything like a Level 99. They don't even have an escape room or a small attraction. And when you send in your blueprints for the local building inspector, that they look at you like you've got 3 heads. They've never seen anything like it. That's not the case in Orlando. These are super professional folks who understand what we're bringing. The code is well developed. Their responsiveness and communication is excellent. And it's really a partnership as we try to solve design challenges together and figure out what's going to work best in this particular location.
I wanted to ask you, Ron Sheich's Act 3 Holdings is backing your expansion. Well, first of all, explain a little bit for folks that don't know who he is and how he came to back Level 99. How did he find you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you don't know Ron Shaich, you certainly know his products and the things he's been involved with. Au Bon Pain, Panera Bread. He got into Panera under a different name when it was just a couple of units, and over the course of a staggeringly amazing career, grew it to 2,600 units and really a category-defining brand in fast casual food and beverage. Just one success story after another. Since he sold Panera, he's taken some of his own money and that of his partners, started Act Three, an early kind of growth stage investment fund focusing on food and beverage concepts, some entertainment concepts like Level 99, where he'll recognize a category that has tailwinds, a concept that has something special, that has the opportunity to be a category defining number one contender in its niche. And he'll bring his and his partners' expertise in and help that business scale from a handful of units to a major enterprise. So we were very fortunate to be connected with Ron. I got introduced, and we came to really respect and like each other. And it's been a fantastic partnership. Not only do they bring an incredible depth of knowledge on the food and beverage side of the business, right? An area of expertise that isn't mine. We would not have won Best Pizza. We would not be a destination dining, chef-driven, farm-to-table food and beverage concept without the amazing leadership and input of Ron and his team. I come more out of the entertainment world. So they've been fantastic to work with operationally. Also doesn't hurt that there's deep pockets there, and he can, when he believes in a concept, there's funds, and it means Level 99 is well capitalized. I don't have to go out raising money every 6 months to grow the concept, but we have a commitment from a very invested, very deeply ingrained team of partners, team of owners. I mean, I spend time one-on-one with Ron every month. They're very active in our monthly board meetings as well. Really, I couldn't ask for better partners.
That's fantastic. Yeah, a lot of times you get private equity that is backing a concept, and it's really just push, 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 grow, grow, grow. And those are the ones that often fail.
That's right.
Ron is not. You see what he's done. He's very smart. He knows the business, so you don't have to worry about that.
Well, he's the opposite of that. This is no pump and dump, no quick hit. He uses words like Sherpa management, that they'll carry the load that for us, that it is a long-term investment, founder-friendly capital where they're really playing for the long term. The pressure is not, how do we get the stock price up next quarter? The pressure is, how do we build the compelling concept? How can we be really effective for our customer before we try to be efficient and squeeze nickels out of things? How do we build something that's really lasting, a category defining, number one brand? Because most of these industries, particularly in something new, Level 99 is breaking ground into, much like Five Wits didn't have the name escape room when it was started. We didn't know what that industry was. I don't think we yet really know what the Level 99 industry is or will be called, but I can tell you we're going to be leading the charge. We're going to be the name that people associate with this new emerging type of entertainment. And Ron likes to invest in the top dog.
That's so cool. Yeah, and so it is you've got location-based entertainment, and your sub niche, I guess I would call it challenge rooms, right? Because I can think of like one or two.
Some people are using that
others.
word. Some people say it's part of competitive socializing and that big umbrella. Some people are saying, it's kind of a reality gaming type thing. Is challenge rooms too limiting? I don't know. A name has yet to emerge, but those are the words people are throwing around. Yeah.
Well, create your own niche. That's how you lead, right?
That's right.
What's your for folks that are going to visit Level 99 for the first time? What's your favorite game? What do you recommend they check out?
Oh, James, that's like asking me my favorite child. It so depends on my mood, on the vibe of the day. I think I would say I love the skill-based games the most. The super physical ones are great, but I'm out of my own target demographic now. I'm 48 years old. The mental games are really fun when you want to crack them with. But boy, we have just some killer skill games. I'll give you one example. We have a ninja training room called Dojo.
Oh, no.
And you walk into this room, and hanging in the center of the room is a big drum with outstretched arms, outstretched sticks all around it. And just like you would see in, a ninja training movie where you're learning to fight with that dummy, this thing is spinning around the room, and your group, 2 to 6 friends, you're in this small octagonal shaped room with these spinning sticks like you're in a blender, and you have to dodge them as they're coming at you, hitting the right targets, the right buttons as they're lighting up on the wall. It's a reaction game. All of a sudden, this thing switches directions. It starts going faster. You're doing cartwheels and backflips in there, trying to avoid being hit by the whirling sticks, which, of course, sense you if they touch you, and score as many points as you can. It's a 2-minute long game, right? It's intense. It's fast. You leave the room laughing. Inarguably, you will leave the room laughing and out of breath. And it's a blast. Yeah. So that's an example. I could take you through 70 more that are in our portfolio today, but
oh my gosh, you and I are the same age, and I think back to when I was a kid watching Double Dare on Nickelodeon.
Yes,
always thinking, man, if I got
on that show,
if I could
just do that,
I would kill. That's what this kind of sounds like. Not exactly, but it's in that universe.
You were picking up exactly. Maybe we had a similar childhood in that regard. You're like, oh, come on, just give me a swing at it. I want to do that myself. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Matt, this has just flown by. Thank you so much for joining me today. This has been so cool.
Oh, that's great. It's a fun conversation. I love talking about this stuff, and your questions are very insightful, James. I appreciate this.
Well, if you like this podcast, do me a favor, go into the app that you're listening to right now and give us a rating. Even better, write a sentence about what you like about the show. Give us just a nice little review. You can subscribe to Where We Buy on the iPhone podcast app. We're on Spotify. Honestly, any place you can listen to a podcast, go in and search for Where We Buy and hit follow or subscribe. You can also find us on the web at wherewebuy.show. If you've got a specific question about retail, shopping centers, or retail real estate, feel free to connect and message with me on LinkedIn. Just search for James Cook, JLL. And our theme music is Run in the Night by The Good Laws under Creative Commons license.